Welcome into STB Sports Take, simply the best sports podcast. I am your host, Sean Bingham, back for another wonderful episode with all you beautiful people. We got to talk a lot again about Tom Thibodeau and getting fired in New York. Yesterday said I think it was the right move. It was really the only move if you want to be a great championship team. I go and I watch what everyone else is saying on ESPN and on Fox and on Instagram and TikTok and all these social media accounts. It is the trendiest thing in the world to hate on James Dolan right now, which I'm not saying he's a good owner, but it's hating on James Dolan and saying that Tom Thibodeau absolutely should have a job. This is ludicrous. He took him farther than they've ever been in 25 years. That's all true, but are you trying to be good or are you trying to be great? That's what it comes down to. Do you want to be good or do you want to be great? If you want to be good, hire Tom Thibodeau. Keep Tom Thibodeau. You'll continue to be good as the New York Knicks. You'll continue to win 45 to 55 games. You'll continue to get to the second round of the playoffs, maybe the occasional lightning in a bottle Eastern Conference Finals, but you absolutely will not make the NBA Finals and you will not win an NBA championship. So do you want to be good or do you want to be great? If you want to be great, you got to take risks. That's what I said yesterday. I stick by that today. So I think the Knicks did the right thing. I don't hate Tom Thibodeau. I think he's a good coach. I just don't think he's a championship coach. And I think that James Dolan and the New York Knicks looked at that and they felt the same way. Now, you can hate on James Dolan all you want. I agree he's underachieved. He's clearly not a good NBA owner because he's in the biggest market in the United States and they haven't even been to an NBA Finals in the last 25 years. In fact, this was their first conference finals in the last 25 years. So clearly things are not going well for the New York Knicks. That said, I think he looks at his roster and says, you know what, we got a pretty good roster here. Maybe we just need a different captain. And so he's going to make that move. There is also rumor out there that Giannis might want to play for either the Knicks, the Lakers, or the Heat if he leaves Milwaukee. Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe Giannis doesn't like Tibbs. Total speculation. I don't know. Something to think about. So if I'm James Dolan, if I'm the New York Knicks, front office, I look at this and I say, okay, look, he does have a winning record. Tom Thibodeau, that is. He did take us to a conference finals, our first one in 25 years. The players do seem to like him, but that Jalen Brunson clip that's going around, like, what's he going to say? Is he going to throw his coach under the bus immediately after they get ousted from the playoffs? That's just not going to happen. So, but it does seem like the players like him. And so you go through all these things and you're like, okay, but are we really contending for a title right now? And I don't think that you are. I don't think that Knicks fans truly in their heart believe they're competing for a title right now. Another thing you have to take into consideration is his age. He's 67 years old, and the farthest he's been is the conference finals, which he did this year and he did in 2011. And if I'm a front office, I look at the history of the NBA. Larry Brown won an NBA title at age 63, which was very late in his career. He'd been coaching for many years at that point. But Thibodeau's already 4 years older than that. And that's the only example I can find of a coach who was a head coach for years and years and years and eventually broke through. Usually if you don't do it in your first 15 full seasons, which Thibodeau has, you're not going to do it. And at his age, I don't know why you keep hanging on. He's been doing this since he was 52, I guess that would put it, as a head coach. To me, if I'm the ownership, I just take a chance on a younger guy and hope that the worst case scenario is maybe we lose in the first round. I can't imagine with this roster they miss the playoffs entirely, especially in the East. So you're still going to win enough games to get people excited, go to the playoffs, earn that money, sell tickets, all that stuff. Why not take a chance on a guy that might get you to the promised land and just see things a little bit differently? Get that rotation from a 7-man rotation up to an 8 or 9-man rotation. All right, moving on, but staying in the NBA. The NBA Finals are upon us. Pacers versus Thunder. And the big question I'm hearing right now is, does winning an NBA championship this year make Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the greatest Thunder ever? You be the judge. My answer is no, it does not, and here's why. He's got Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant to surpass. Russell Westbrook, to me, is the greatest Thunder ever. He played there for 11 seasons. He was drafted by the team. He was 1A to Kevin Durant's 1, or maybe he was 1B to Kevin Durant's 1A, to take the team to their first ever finals appearance as the Oklahoma City Thunder. He led the league in scoring multiple times. He led the league in assists multiple times. He averaged a triple-double for 3 straight seasons, which had never been done for decades. He also won an MVP. He went to 8 All-Star games. So to me, Russell Westbrook is the guy in Oklahoma City. And right behind him is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, also drafted by the team, did even 1 year in Seattle before they moved to Oklahoma City. So he was like the cornerstone when they moved to Oklahoma City. was the guy when they went to their first finals as the Thunder. He also won an MVP. He won 4 scoring titles, was a 7-time All-Star. So SGA has a little ways to go. If he does this for 3 more years, he's only been an All-Star 3 times. He did win an MVP. Now they're in the finals. He'll probably win a championship and even finals MVP, which will give him huge bonus points. I just think he needs 2 or 3 more seasons staying with the team and playing at an All-NBA level. And at that point, he would surpass those guys. But right now, the torch still is in the hands of Russell Westbrook with Kevin Durant right behind him, and SGA is slowly creeping up. Let's pretend you are an NBA GM and you have to take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or these players for just the next 2 seasons. We start with Jalen Brunson. Are you taking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Jalen Brunson for the next 2 years? This one's kind of close, but not really. For me, I'm taking Shai. I love Brunson. I love how hard he plays. He brings it every night, but I got to take SGA. Halliburton or SGA? This is a finals showdown. We're going to get to see this live right now for the next couple weeks. I'm taking SGA. I love what Halliburton's done. Like Brunson, he's become super, super clutch, hitting big shots. He dishes out a lot of assists. I like Hallie's game, but I got to take SGA. Giannis or SGA for the next 2 seasons? I'm taking Giannis. To me, Giannis is still probably the best all-around player in the league. It's debatable. We'll get to some of the other guys here in a second. But if I'm taking one of these two, I'm taking Giannis. Far better defensively. To me, Giannis is the guy that I want on my squad. Okay, this one's interesting. SGA or Steph? All right, so I still think Steph is just slightly better than SGA, but Steph is getting older. He just had that hamstring injury. I do think for the next 2 seasons, you're going to see him to continue to digress bit by bit, while SGA will continue to get better bit by bit. So if I'm an NBA GM and I have to choose between these two right now for the next 2 years, I give a slight edge to SGA. Okay, SGA or LeBron? Now, if I'm trying to just sell tickets and get in the news, I'll take LeBron. But if I'm trying to win games and grow a franchise and be, relevant 2 years down the line, I got to take SGA. LeBron's 40, so you can't really rely on that. This one is very close. SGA or Ant? I actually can't even decide. I'm curious what you guys think. Would you take SGA? Would you take Ant? Both guys are on the rise. Ant's been knocking at the door, Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row, proving to be very clutch, proving to step up his game in the playoffs. Also very young, super athletic. I love Ant a lot. That being said, SGA is already there. He's in the finals now. He just won MVP. He's already doing the things that Ant is close to doing. So while I personally, as a fan, like Ant better, I even like watching his game more, things like that, I do think that SGA has a slight edge on Ant. But this one is really, really close. SGA or Jokic? Yeah, Jokic with the heart. So I give an edge here to Jokic. I think Jokic is probably the top player in the league, or 1B to Giannis. He's right there close. But on this one, again, he's young enough. I got to give it to Jokic. Jason Tatum, you taking SGA or you taking Jason Tatum? And let's pretend that Tatum does not have the injury. He's back 100% for 2 seasons. Do you want Jason Tatum or do you want SGA? This one's pretty close, but again, I think I give a slight edge to SGA. Spider. Donovan Mitchell got first team All-NBA this year, and Anthony Edwards got second team All-NBA. I do think, however, that Anthony Edwards has surpassed Donovan Mitchell at that position. And so if I took SGA barely over Ant, I feel like I got to take SGA over Spida. But it's close. Tell me what you think in the comments. All right, we got Clayton Levitt joining us now. We got a fun story to talk about. Maybe fun's not the right word, actually, but an interesting story, a very hot story here in Utah. Jake Retzloff, the star quarterback for the BYU football team, led the team to an 11-2 record his first year as a starter, top 15 finish, was accused of rape just about 2 weeks ago. And then shortly after that, a new athletic director was named, Brian Santiago. The timing of it's kind of interesting. I don't think it had anything to do with it, but you do kind of wonder. And I don't know what you think, Clayton, but is there anything to wonder about here? Like, did maybe Tom Holmoe, the former athletic director, did he know this was coming down the pipe and was like, I got to get out? Like, the NIL is getting crazy. This is getting crazy. Because for those that don't know, BYU has a strict honor code that the student athletes have to live by, where they can't drink alcohol, they can't have sex with anyone they're not married to. Like, there's just a higher level of conduct they're expected to hold to. And sometimes it's hard to recruit star athletes that are ready to do that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm wondering if to avoid having to deal with kicking another kid out of school or whatever, if Holmo was like, you know what, it's been a good career and this is getting crazy now. We're paying kids $20 million or whatever, $8 million, whatever. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think?
I hope not. So I want
I
to
hope
show
not
you.
too.
I want to show you this. So I need your opinion on this too, because I have mine. But
This is the Reddit thing you were telling me about with Brian
yep.
Santiago. So Brian Santiago was just named the new athletic director. Okay, tell us what you got here.
So this guy 10 says word through Twitter and BYU message board is he's kind of an elite. How do you say that?
Elitist douchebag.
Douchebag. So that's been what people have been talking about on Twitter.
Who treats those under him rudely and ignores your average person or average peon. Fingers crossed, this is all just internet speculation, but everyone in the fan base loves Tom Holmoe. Tom Holmoe was an absolute stud. I interviewed him a couple times on a TV show I had when I went to BYU. Very, very nice. He's been there forever. He's actually I think a 2 or maybe even 3-time Super Bowl champ. But he just retired out of nowhere. And Brian Santiago, who's been in the program, in the athletic department for 20 plus years, came on, and there's a lot of mixed reviews about him. And
people loved him. Loved him. Tom.
Loved Tom, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So
Brian, not so much, it feels like.
No, and so as an event staff came to say he was not a very nice person and couldn't care less what anyone else's responsibilities were. Now, I've heard this more on like Twitter feeds, word of mouth, people like that. So what is your opinion kind of about the whole situation?
Look at the one right below it. Sorry. I can mirror this sentiment as well. I worked on IT in the athletic administration when I was a student. He was your typical Utah Valley executive, very abrasive and dismissive. If you are not providing immediate value to him, you may as well not exist. Again, This was 10 years ago. Yeah, this is interesting. RIP BYU Athletics. Is there any other interesting ones you found on there?
Cougar Board is blowing up about it.
What are people saying on Cougar Board?
Let me see if I can pull up the Cougar Board real quick here.
Yeah, so while he's looking that up, I mean, I've actually met Brian Santiago. He was nice to me. It was just briefly in passing here or there. I attended BYU years ago, and then I did sports broadcasting and things like that. I had a good experience with him. He seems like a good guy, but there's not just one or two of these people that are having these testimonials, if you will, that are kind of negative reviews of him. There's quite a few. So what did you got here on Cougar Board?
So we got to keep in mind, I'm a BYU fan. You're a BYU fan. BYU fans are passionate. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a mix of the religion and sports because we don't drink. I don't know. But look at the time on these messages, right? 7:18 a.m., 7:20 a.m. Like
7:25.
People are going at this. Like this is before work in the morning. Now, a lot of people are like protecting him. So I don't know if a lot got deleted here, but it seems like a lot of people are saying like, hey, should we push past this? Should we give him a second chance? Let's wait and see. But then a lot of people are like, hey, a man like this, that's abuse of employees, allegedly, shouldn't be in that position.
Not abusive, but just rude. I'm not really seeing any abusive comments, just rude comments. But
Exactly.
who knows? And sometimes who knows? This might be a big nothing burger. I don't know. But it is interesting anyway for me, the timing of it. Tom Holmoe retiring was it days after or days before? I think it was just days before. Yeah, he retired days before Retzloff was accused of rape. And the alleged rape took place a year plus ago. So you do wonder, like, did they kind of have a heads up this was coming? It's just something I've wondered about. I have no insider information. I just think the timing's very interesting that days before, like a total bombshell is landed, that just gets dropped on your program, you retire.
It begs the question.
Yeah,
right?
It does. So anyway, all right, well, keep an eye on BYU. They are paying big, big NIL money. And speaking of NIL money, you told me something earlier I want to transition to right now. So BYU is paying massive amounts to AJ DeBansa and other BYU basketball players. And I thought that was like record-breaking, like $8 million, $7 million. But Clayton said that Cooper Flagg got $28 million last year, 21?
28 bones.
Dude. So I fact-checked him. Unshare your screen here.
I had to.
We'll
This is unshared.
Yeah. So, okay, so I fact checked it real quick because I was just curious. It's still being slow. Let me say that one more. Okay, so I fact checked it real quick just because I was curious, and I immediately found this article on Fox Sports, which seems pretty reputable to me. And it does say at least $28 million in NIL deals at his time in Durham. This is crazy. $20 million figure is based on Flag's deals with New Balance and Fanatics. $13 million in a deal with New Balance, and his Fanatics deal is worth $15 million. This is crazy. He's not going to make this much for the next several years in the NBA.
Not at all.
No, I mean, stay in school, kids.
But do you think that's why he was debating it?
If I was him, I would have gone back for another year, make double, and then, get another. The thing you're always risking is injury. If you get hurt, then you're in big trouble. But you can get injury insurance. They do things like that. He's young enough. He'd probably bounce back from any injury pretty quickly. But this is wild because $28 million as a teenager in college, dude, I would stay in college as long as I could. Unless you're him and you have a chance to go number one overall and eventually get to like multi-$100 million deals. But this is way more than we thought. So everyone hating on BYU and their NIL, take a look at this. I mean, this is
28.
New Balance also made Flag one of its top athletes, including him in a commercial that features Los Angeles Clippers star Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Have you seen, though, the fact that, like, a lot of people, when they were in college before NIL, were like, hey, we couldn't even go to a game for free. We couldn't go to dinner, people buying us a meal. But now they're handing out $28 million? That's more than most people coming off the bench in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I mean, we could Google real quick what the average NBA salary is, should I?
Yeah.
What was the average NBA salary in 2025? $11.9 million, dude. He more than doubled it.
That's insane.
He more than doubled it. So, yeah. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. That is so much money.
Well, he's probably going to make more in the NBA, right?
Not his first year. I don't think he even can. But he will on his second contract.
Do you think those sponsorships carry over?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forget, he'll make – yeah, that's a good point, of course. So he'll still get all of his sponsorship stuff, and then he'll get an NBA contract. Yeah, so he probably will make that money plus his NBA contract. That's a really good point.
So that begs the question, what do you think about AJ, his career trajectory? Like, is he a one and done? How much money do you think he's going to make at BYU? What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, they're saying they're paying him $7 or $8 million, but I thought that was just from boosters. So does he have big deals like this in play? Where I haven't seen him in any commercials.
He did just do the McDonald's with him and Jake. Did that McDonald's promo with BYU.
Did they?
So did you see that?
Retzlaff?
Yeah, him and Retzlaff. As we were talking about Retzlaff.
Yeah, that might not hit the airwaves, wasn't it? No, I didn't see that, but that still sounds like a BYU thing as opposed to like a national or global, McDonald's thing, which I do think there's a big difference there, but kind of crazy. All right, next topic here. We're talking Shaquille O'Neal and his top 10 rankings. Everybody loves a good top 10 ranking. And Shaq, Clayton, if you have that, let's see it. Shaq just yesterday dropped his all-time top 10 list. Take a look at this. He did go in reverse order, and he actually did say, I have myself, Shaq, at number 10. But if I excluded myself, I would put in the great Dr. J. So this is similar to what I talked about yesterday with Michael Jordan. Just a nice, humble GOAT giving someone else the credit. So Shaq's for sure better than Dr. J, but he has Dr. J, Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon. This is in reverse order for those just listening. Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan at the top. Okay, let me hear, Clayton, your thoughts first. Clayton and I, by the way, are like 14 years apart. So
14 years, man. Gosh.
Okay, so what do you think? You see this list, what do you think?
So first off, Dr. J, I love that. I also think that's kind of like hey, let's give some homage to the old guys out there, because they did pave a way for a lot of these guys. But I have to jump into LeBron James being number 3.
Yeah, too high, right?
What? Sean, are you kidding me? Kobe above LeBron is an insult. RIP, one of the greatest legends. I think he's top 5, but you can't put him number 2. That's just like I'm a teammate, giving him homage. Michael to me and LeBron. Michael 2, LeBron 1.
I mean, we could debate this LeBron MJ thing forever. I don't know if I have the energy right now. It's not close. We'll get to that in a second. So my top 10 is different than this. Dr. J would not even make my top 15. Probably not even my top 20.
That's fine.
Duncan would be in my top 10. Hakeem is in my top 10. Bird is at the very end of my top 10. Wilt does not make it. Bill Russell does not make it. Yeah, you think you're a new school guy. I'm a new school guy.
Bill doesn't make it with his 10.
Not 11 championships.
Oh.
And here's the reason Bill Russell doesn't make my top 10. He was phenomenal for his time, as was Wilt Chamberlain. Their time was just too long ago to even compare to today. It was so ancient. It was black and white TV days. It was 8 teams in the league. Did you know they only had 8 or 9 teams when he was winning all of his championships? It's just not the same as when it was like a brand new sport, and they were like the only team that had a decent coach and decent players, and they just dominated for years. They won 8 in a row titles, you know. So to me, what Bill Russell did for the game is top 10 all time. It's top 5 all time. But his actual like accomplishments and abilities combined, I think puts him just outside the top 10. His accomplishments are, of course, way up there. But his abilities, when you look at like other guys, Shaquille O'Neal is a better center than him. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, I can't believe Kareem's not in this top 10. How do you not put Kareem in there?
Yeah, that's.
Does Shaq have beef with Kareem? Like that's kind of a weird omission. Kareem's a Laker and Kareem's a center. Those are 2 things that Shaq is, and he left him out. I thought that was very interesting. So Kareem for sure is in my top 10. He's the oldest guy, though, that would make my top 10, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So, but I have Jordan number 1. Kobe at number 2 is interesting. I do think there's an argument there. People, a lot of us MJ guys almost feel like this pressure to put LeBron at number 2 just to appease all the LeBron lovers out there.
Yeah.
But if I'm actually trying to win a championship, it's hard to argue LeBron over Kobe in that sense. Like Kobe was just more of a killer. He did win one more title than LeBron did. I know everyone's going to say, oh, but he had Shaq, but LeBron had Kyrie, Kevin Love, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Anthony Davis. We could go on and on. Did you know that Michael Jordan never once in his entire career had 2 teammates who were all-stars?
Yeah, but
not one time.
But
LeBron has had it 7 different seasons, people. 7 seasons LeBron has had 2 teammates that were all-stars. Jordan had it 0 times. But yet LeBron people always want to talk about how he had no help. He's had more help than anyone in the history of the league.
But Michael couldn't even do it without Scotty. Not once. Not one time, Sean.
Spoken like a true young blood. He was in the league for like 3 years before Scotty got there. And one of those years he had a broken foot. LeBron didn't even make the playoffs his first 2 seasons. Did not even make the playoffs.
So here's a question. I feel like Michael's career gets glazed over with the good parts, you know?
So what are the bad parts of Michael's career?
We'll get into that to another day. But do you feel
No, I want to get into it. No, we're talking about it.
Okay, so what I feel like gets glazed over is his I feel like his gambling, his years off to go play baseball. I felt like that.
Wait, why does gambling even matter, though? I mean, gambling is totally legal everywhere now.
I feel like
he was never illegally gambling. He was just gambling.
I don't think so. It was illegal either. But do you feel like it was kind of hidden by the league? That was pushed down. He was pushed out of the league for the 2 years.
No. I do not. I mean, dude, his dad was murdered. He had just won 3 championships in a row. He had won, I don't know how many scoring, I think 7 scoring titles in a row at that point. Yeah, 7. Because then he came back and won 3 more. So he had won 7 scoring titles in a row. He had won 3 league MVPs. He had won 3 titles in a row, 3 finals MVPs. 7 or 8 at this point, first team all defenses. 6 first team all defenses. He had just a defensive player there. He had just dominated at every level. And then his dad got murdered, and he just thought, you know what? Like, I don't want to do this right now. I mean, you and I both know, like, you lose your dad, it's not easy. And so, to me, he just needed time off. He just wanted to do something different, wanted to shake up his life, and that's what he did. There's no chance that David Stern and the NBA wanted him out of the league. He was the league. He was everything. The ratings were at their absolute highest when he was in the league. He was their meal ticket. They're not going to let, because he gambles on golf or something. Who cares? They don't care.
Yeah.
So I think that theory is garbage, personally.
Him coming back to NBC is going to be a treat, I think.
It's going to be amazing.
it's going to be a viewership.
Yeah. Dude, people will
feast.
tune in just to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
Like legit. I mean, people will be more interested in what Jordan has to say than they are in the actual game. That's all we've got for today. Thank you for being here with us on STB Sports Take, simply the best sports podcast. Be sure to follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, all the good stuff. I am out. Peace.